My name is Sean O'Leary. I'm a lead applications modernization consultant with HP. And today we're joined by Rick Truesdale, who is a specialist in our rehost applications offering. Rick, can you tell us what applications rehost is all about?
So what applications rehost is all about is literally taking advantage of technology that's available today that will run, COBOL, CICS, JCL, that which naturally runs within a mainframe environment and running just like it would in an open systems platform. So something that's been around for, dating back to the 70s, where, these technologies allowed you to do development and performance and testing, et cetera. Now, because of the platforms and their capabilities, you can actually run live production systems. So it's really about literally doing a lift and shift of mainframe systems onto Unix, Linux, Windows, et cetera, in those environments, and doing so with little to no disruption in services.
Instant anything these days is great. So how does rehost provide instant value?
Well, it provides instant value in the sense that, when you are looking at options of mitigating and reducing the costs on, your IT budget, you can look at, an IT officer spending, millions upon millions of dollars, managing their mainframe. If you're looking at, 1,000 to 10,000 MIPS system, that could be anywhere upwards of $40 to $50 million that their spend is. When you're looking at, a MIPS to CPU core translation of 200 MIPS per core, the cost savings is incredible. You can either rewrite your systems, you can look at implementing packages, all of which can take an enormous amount of time. You lose a lot of that intellectual property. And so those are cost disadvantages to doing those approaches. In a rehost, something that HP specializes in and has done so for quite some time, you can actually lift that up and shift it in a fraction of the time. So where it may take you 2, 3, 4 years to rewrite your systems or something comparable from a package standpoint, in this particular case, it could be anywhere from 6 to 12 months, depending on the size of the system that you're talking about.
This sounds like it's something seriously to consider. How big an activity is this and how risky is this?
It's one of the least riskiest things that you can possibly do when moving, again, the backbone of your enterprise from the mainframe to an open systems platform. The risk is mitigated because you are moving like for like. You're literally lifting it up and shifting it. Matter of fact, when HP in our services practices goes through this exercise, you often find that they'll actually lift it up, move it into this environment, and they'll run a clean compile across everything that's out there. And on average, 80 to 90% of it compiles as is. It's really that 10 to 20% that they have to really go in and make the certain adjustments because you are looking at a different platform. There are differences there, so they will have to make those adjustments, and that's really where our expertise comes into play. And we've got many people in our practice that have been doing this for 20, 30 plus some odd years, very familiar with the mainframe environment and very familiar with the technologies that allow us to do this.
A lot of IT leaders are now planning and working with cloud initiatives. How does this fit into a cloud initiative?
Well, usually the first step is to move the systems off the mainframe and moving it to an open systems infrastructure. Unix, Linux, Windows, whatever the case may be. That becomes your staging ground for what is your cloud philosophy, what does your cloud strategy look like. And that's where we bring in a different set of expertise that really focuses on our cloud initiatives, our cloud services, but usually it's a step process. So step one is to move it from the mainframe to an open systems platform in such a way that it mitigates as much risk as possible, because again, you are talking about the backbone of the enterprise systems that you're dealing with, so it has to be staged in the appropriate fashion. So that's how we do it today.
And at the end of it, you have a platform running on cloud, which is easier to maintain and operate, and you've reduced risk, and you probably freed up dollars for other initiatives.
Absolutely.
Sounds great in theory. What makes HP so good at this?
Well, what makes HP so great in this is a number of things. Number one, the seniority of the people that we have on the team that have been doing this for 20, 30 years, just within the mainframe arena itself, as well as helping mature the technologies that are out there that we leverage in this particular case. Also, in order to kind of prove out the case that open systems does meet and exceed what mainframes have offered for so many years.
If I'm understanding what you're saying, are you saying you can actually get better performance off of some mid-range platforms than a mainframe platform?
More often than not, I'd say probably 90+% of the time, people often walk away with better performing systems than they had on their mainframes at that point. Absolutely.
Can you give me a real-world example of rehost?
Absolutely. A really good example happened about a year or so ago where we had a customer of ours that was looking for a number of different ways of getting off the mainframe. They wanted to move to the .NET platform. They had an aging workforce, and the people that were becoming available to them out of colleges just weren't what they were looking for. So they talked to HP and a variety of different other SIs around, re-architecting, rewriting, and implementing package systems in order to get off the mainframe and do just what they were looking for. And every one of them were cost prohibitive. They just couldn't do it. And they finally came to our group, and they asked for us to do some indicative pricing and some solutioning around, doing a rehost. And as it turns out, in that particular case, the solutioning was a fraction of the cost, where they were looking at, I think it was in the neighborhood of like $20 to $25 million for the other options. We were able to do that for a fraction of the cost. And we were able to do it in a 12-month time period, and it actually met all of their objectives. And the CIO that we were working with that promised his board that he was going to be off the mainframe by 2013, early this year, he actually accomplished that.
So as you can see, there's a lot of value in rehosting your applications. Thank you, Rick. Thanks for stopping by and telling us about rehosting applications.
Absolutely.